Okay, today I'm going to talk about the worst game ever made, Link: The Faces of Evil. Before I talk to you about the game, I'm going to give you a quick rundown about the backstory. Nintendo was working with Philips to create a CD-based add-on for the Super Nintendo, which was eventually scrapped. Nintendo was also working with Sony on the same concept, which ended up being the PlayStation. But as for Philips, they too made their own console, however they had permission to utilize some Nintendo franchises, which resulted in some of the worst games ever made. Hotel Mario, Zelda: The Wand of Gamelon, Zelda's Adventure, and Link: The Faces of Evil. When they first came out, they received positive reviews for their high resolution, but later on they became more negative. I'm gonna show you why. The games are pretty rare and can sell for up to $200. Thankfully, the CDI can play burned games. One of the biggest criticisms of the game is its cutscenes. They're very cheesy and weird. All of the characters are creepy, and to talk to them you have to hit them with your sword, which can get annoying when you're battling enemies. Now let's get to the controls. There's a tutorial where Link shows you how to use its basic tools.
Move the controller down, and I crouch. When I'm crouching, you can make me do the duck walk. Cool, huh?
No, not really. Now back to controls. Regardless of which controller you have, the CDI will only use 2 buttons. So to jump, you have to press up on the D-pad, and because it's a platform game, it really wears your thumb out. 1 is to slash your sword, 2 is to open doors and use your weapons. To open your inventory, you have to press down, then 2, and there is no pause button. Because 2 does everything, it becomes a real hassle, because if you try to use your weapon in front of a door, you end up going through the door, even if you're crouching. To grab items, you have to hit them with your sword, and because certain bad guys can only be killed by certain items, each item slows you down. And rubies are far more important to buy bombs, rope, and lantern oil. Dark rooms are a waking nightmare because you have no idea where to go, and the lantern oil only lasts for a few seconds. The bosses are pretty easy and only need to be killed with 1 or 2 hits.
No! Not into the pit! It burns!
Now let's get to the graphics. I already said that the cutscenes are awful, but the gameplay graphics actually are pretty good. They look a lot better than the Nintendo version on the Super NES. The backgrounds are okay, but it can be a challenge to know where you can stand. And finally, the story. It's pretty much the same as all the other Zelda games. Princess Zelda has been kidnapped by the evil Ganon. You must conquer a group of mountains called the Faces of Evil to rescue her.
Ugh, why'd you do that?
I just saved you from Ganon.
You did not.
And that's the game. So overall, it's not such a bad game. It's very colorful, and the soundtrack's very effective. But the cutscenes are just plain awful. Despite being rated one of the worst games ever made, it has been made popular with a number of YouTube parodies. So overall, I rate this game 6 out of 10. Now, goodbye.